The quantum mechanics lecture hall buzzed with the low hum of universal translators as Professor Veltar droned on about wave function collapse. Maya Rodriguez sat in the back row, her enhanced retinas recording every equation that flickered across the holographic display. At 19 standard years, she was the youngest cadet ever admitted to the Galactic Defense Academy, and the only one from Earth. The other species whispered about her constantly. Deathworlder, they called her kind. A species so violent and unpredictable that their home planet had been classified as a Class 12 hazard zone. Maya had grown accustomed to the stares, the wide berths her classmates gave her in the corridors, the way conversations died when she approached. The probability matrix demonstrates that consciousness itself affects quantum states. Professor Veltar's 6 arms gestured gracefully as his crystalline voice filled the amphitheater. This is why Zephyrian meditation techniques are essential for... A crumpled paper ball struck Maya's temple. She didn't flinch, merely glanced at the 4 Caraxian cadets sitting 2 rows ahead. Their chitinous exoskeletons gleamed under the artificial lighting as they turned to sneer at her with compound eyes. "Oops," hissed Crixtal, the ringleader. His mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his kind. "Primitive reflexes too slow, Deathworlder?" Maya's jaw tightened imperceptibly. Caraxians were notorious bullies, their warrior culture prizing physical dominance above all else. At 3 meters tall with natural armor plating and razor-sharp claws, they considered themselves the apex predators of known space. "Perhaps the mud-crawler should return to her swamp planet," whispered another Caraxian, Velthak. "Leave the thinking to evolved species." The lecture continued, but Maya felt her heart rate increase from 60 beats per minute to 75. Her adrenal glands began their ancient dance, flooding her system with chemicals that had once helped her ancestors survive saber-toothed tigers and ice ages. Professor Veltar's voice became background noise as the Caraxians grew bolder. Another projectile, this time a stylus, bounced off her shoulder. Then Crixtal made his fatal mistake. He turned fully around and lunged across the gap between rows, all 4 arms reaching for Maya's throat, while his 3 companions flanked her sides. What happened next would be dissected frame by frame in Academy tactical classes for decades to come. Maya's enhanced reflexes, evolved on a planet where everything from the weather to the wildlife actively tried to kill you, engaged with machine precision. Her left hand deflected Crixtal's primary attack vector while her right drove into his solar plexus with enough force to crack chitin. The impact sent him flying backward into his seat, unconscious before he hit the ground. Velthak approached from her right. Maya pivoted, using her lower center of gravity to drive her elbow upward into the junction where his head met his thorax. The nerve cluster there, a vulnerability unknown to most species but catalogued extensively in human xenobiology databases, shut down his motor functions instantly. The 3rd Caraxian, Zaktul, had barely processed his companion's fate when Maya's knee connected with his midsection. The angle and force were perfectly calculated to bypass his natural armor and compress his breathing apparatus. He collapsed, gasping. The 4th attacker, Thexmar, managed half a step before Maya's spinning heel kick caught him in the head. Her reinforced boot, designed to handle Earth's crushing gravity and violent ecosystems, sent him tumbling over 3 rows of seats. The entire engagement lasted exactly 12 seconds. Maya resumed her position, calmly brushing imaginary dust from her uniform as Professor Veltar's 6 eyes blinked in stunned silence. "Medical team to lecture Hall 7. The professor's voice crackled over the comm system. "For casualties." As hover stretchers arrived to collect the unconscious Caraxians, Maya noticed something unexpected. The whispers hadn't stopped, but they'd changed. Where once there had been fear and disgust, now there was something approaching respect. A Valerian cadet in the front row turned around, her tentacled head swaying gently. "Impressive combat efficiency," she said, her translator rendering the compliment in perfect standard. "Perhaps we misjudged Deathworlder capabilities." Maya allowed herself the smallest smile. "We prefer to be underestimated," she replied softly. "It makes the math easier." As the lecture resumed, Maya returned to her notes. But now, when other cadets looked her way, They looked with the wariness reserved for apex predators. Exactly where a human belonged.